Welcome, everyone. Looks like we're live. Put up our little addresses here. Okay, so welcome YouTube, welcome Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. I mean, not YouTube, Instagram. Sorry, I called you YouTube. Anyway, so we are reading tonight, and I'm going to put up one more address here before we get going, so that you guys can come and follow me on Whatnot as well. Okay, we are on Whatnot as Rarity Estate Finds, and there's two reasons for that. One is that the regular company name or business name is not fitting on their platform. It's too long. The name is too long. And the other thing is, I felt like it really matched better with the section of Whatnot that I'm selling under, which is estate sales. And it's either estate sales or books, but I felt like Rarity Estate Finds would be a little more like true to what we are selling over there. Welcome everybody on Instagram. Hopefully that will get going here pretty soon too. So updates. So I'm currently just awaiting whatever our library board decides on as far as going ahead with a library project over there. I sell books for our library, which is they're probably the biggest client that I have. And so they're deciding tonight all the ins and outs of a project that we've been kind of looking at for a while. It's gonna actually be quite a few more books available to sell, and so I'll be probably over on Whatnot doing a lot of that. Although it's also on eBay as well, the bookstore on eBay. So you guys should be able to, be able to access both of those websites from the stream. So that's kind of what's going on today. And then we've got our sales on the bookstore, the estate find store, and those are both 25% off. So feel free to run over there and take a look at those stores. I am also on biblio.com. That stuff is a little bit different than what we have on eBay and Whatnot. So those are more like investment books and things that are of higher dollar amounts. That things that are really rare or hard to find. So that being said, that's what basically is going on right now. Now, the other thing that we've been doing is our winter reading, which is kind of getting like warm around here, so it may end up being spring before we know it. But yeah, so the winter reading is this book. It's all backwards for you guys, but it's Agatha Christie, The Sleeping Murder. And so that's what we're reading right now. And so I usually just like to jump right into it. So you guys can let me know what you're thinking. As far as any questions you have, you can post them in there and everything. So, okay. We can get this going. So, it says chapter 3 is what we're on. And if you don't know the story, it's basically about this lady that buys a house and ends up having some weird things go on with it, and it's on the shores of England. I forgot where it's at exactly. It probably will say in here again. So this is Cover Her Face, Mine Eyes Dazzle, She Died Young. Chapter 3. Raymond West and his wife did all they could to make young Giles' wife feel welcome. It was not their fault that Gwenda found them secretly rather alarming. Raymond, with his odd, let me get my light up here. There we go. Raymond, with his odd appearance, rather like a pouncing raven, his sweep of hair, and his sudden crescendos of quiet, incomprehensible conversation, left Gwenda round-eyed and nervous. Both he and Joan seemed to talk a language of their own. Gwenda had never been plunged in a highbrow atmosphere before, and practically all its terms were strange. "We planned to take you to a show or two," said Raymond, while Gwenda was drinking gin and rather wishing have had she could have had a cup of tea after her journey. Gwenda brightened up immediately, like the ballet tonight at Sadler's Wells, and tomorrow we've got a birthday party on for my quite incredible Aunt Jane, the Duchess of Malfi, with Gielgud. Gielgud? I'm not sure how you say that. And on Friday, you simply must see They Walked Without Feet, translated from the Russian, absolutely the most significant piece of drama for the last 20 years. It's at the Little White Whitmore Theater. Gwenda expressed herself grateful for these plans for her entertainment. After all, when Giles came home, they would go together to the musical shows and all that. She flinched slightly at the prospect of They Walked Without Feet, but supposed she might enjoy it. Only the point about significant plays was that you usually didn't. You'll adore my Aunt Jane, said Raymond. She's what I should describe as a perfect period piece. Victorian to the core, all of her dressing tables have their legs swathed in chintz. She lives in a village, the kind of a village where nothing ever happens, exactly like a stagnant pond. Something did happen there once, his wife said dryly. Raymond waved his hand, a mere drama of passion, crude, no subtlety to it. You enjoyed it frightfully at the time, Joan reminded him with a slight twinkle. I sometimes enjoy playing village cricket, and Raymond with dignity said Raymond with dignity. Anyway, Aunt Jane distinguished herself over that murder. Oh, she's no fool. She adores problems. Problems, said Gwenda, her mind flying to arithmetic. Raymond waved a hand. Any kind of problems. Why, the grocer's wife took her umbrella to the church social on a fine evening. Why, a gill, why, a gill of pickled shrimps were found where it was. What happened to the vicar's surplus? All grist to my Aunt Jane's mill. So if you have any problems in your life, put it to her, Gwenda. She'll tell you the answer. He laughed, and Gwenda laughed too, but not very heartily. She was introduced to Aunt Jane, otherwise Miss Marple, on the following day. Miss Marple was an attractive old lady, tall and thin, with pink cheeks and blue eyes, and a gentle, rather fussy manner. Her blue eyes often had a little twinkle in them. After an early dinner to at which they drank Aunt Jane's health, they all went off to His Majesty's Theatre Two extra men, an elderly artist and a young barrister, were in the party. The elderly artist devoted himself to Gwenda, and the young barrister divided his attentions between Joan and Miss Marple. Those remarks he seemed to enjoy very much. At the theatre, however, this arrangement was reversed. Gwenda sat in the middle of the row between Raymond and the barrister. The lights went down and the play began. It was superbly acted, and Gwenda enjoyed it very much. She had not seen very many first-rate theatrical productions. The play drew to a close, came to that supreme moment of horror. The actor's voice came over the footlights filled with tragedy of a warped and perverted mentality. Cover her face. Mine eyes dazzle. She died young. Gwenda screamed. She sprang up from her seat, pushed blindly past the others, out into the aisle, through the exit and up the stairs, and so to the street. She did not stop even then, but half walked, half ran in a blind panic up the Haymarket. It was not until she had reached Piccadilly that she noticed a free taxi cruising along, hailed it, and getting in, gave the address of the Chelsea house. With fumbling fingers she got out money, paid the taxi, and went up the steps. The servant who let her in glanced at her in surprise. "You've come back early, miss. Didn't you feel well?" "I no, yes. I felt faint." "Would you like anything, miss? Some brandy?" "No, nothing. I'll go straight up to bed." She ran up the stairs to avoid further questions. She pulled off her clothes, left them on the floor in a heap, and got into bed. She lay there shivering, her heart pounding, her eyes staring at the ceiling. She did not hear the sound of fresh arrivals downstairs, but after about 5 minutes the door opened and Miss Marple came in. She had two hot water bottles tucked under her arm and a cup in her hand. Gwenda sat up in bed, trying to stop her shivering. "Oh, Miss Marple, I'm frightfully sorry. I don't know what. It was awful of me. Are they very annoyed with me?" "Now, don't worry, my dear child," said Miss Marple. "Just tuck yourself up warmly with these hot water bottles." "I don't really need a hot water bottle." "Oh, yes, you do. That's right. And now drink this cup of tea." It was hot and strong, and far too full of sugar, but Gwenda drank it obediently. Shivering was less acute now. "Just lie down now and go to sleep," said Miss Marple. "You've had a shock, you know. We'll talk about it in the morning. Don't worry about anything. Just go to sleep." She drew up the covers, smiled, patted Gwenda, and went out. Downstairs Raymond was saying irritably to Joan, "What on earth was the matter with the girl? Did she feel ill, or what?" "My dear Raymond, I don't know. She just screamed. I suppose the play was a bit too macabre for her. Well, of course Webster's a bit grisly, but I shouldn't have thought—" He broke off as Miss Marple came into the room. "Is she all right?" "Yes, I think so. She had a bad shock, you know." "Shock? Just seeing an Elizabethan drama?" "I think there must be a little more to it than that," said Miss Marple thoughtfully. Gwenda's breakfast was sent up to her. She drank some coffee and nibbled a little piece of toast. Then she got up and came downstairs. Joan had gone to her studio. Raymond was shut up in his workroom, and only Miss Marple was sitting by the window, which had a view over the river. She was busily engaged in knitting. She looked up with a placid smile as Gwenda entered. "Good morning, my dear. You're feeling better, I hope." "Oh, yes, I'm quite all right. How could I make such an utter idiot of myself last night? I don't know. And they are they very mad with me? Oh no, my dear, they quite understand. Understand what? Miss Marple glanced up over her knitting. That you had a bad shock last night, she added gently. Hadn't you better tell me all about it? Gwenda walked restlessly up and down. I think I'd better go and see a psychiatrist or someone. There are excellent mental specialists in London, of course, but you are sure it is necessary? Well, I think I'm going mad. I must be going mad. An elderly parlour maid entered the room with a telegram on a salver which she had handed to Gwenda. The boy wants to know if there's an answer, ma'am. Gwenda tore it open, and it had been re-telegraphed from Dilmouth. She stared at it for a moment or two uncomprehendingly, then screwed it into a ball. There's no answer, she said mechanically. The maid left the room. Not bad news, I hope. It's Giles, my husband. He's flying home. He'll be here in a week. Her voice was bewildered and miserable. Miss Marple gave a gentle little cough. Well, surely that is very nice, isn't it? Is it? When I got here, when I'm not sure if I'm mad or not. If I'm mad, I ought never to have married Giles and the house and everything. I can't go back there. Oh, I don't know what to do. Miss Marple patted the sofa invitingly. Now suppose you sit down here, dear, and just tell me all about it. It was with a sense of relief that Gwenda accepted the invitation. She poured out the whole story, starting with her first view of Hillside and going on to the incidents that had first puzzled her and then worried her. And so I got rather frightened, she ended, and I thought I'd come up to London, get away from it all. Only, you see, I couldn't get away from it. It followed me. Last night she shut her eyes and gulped reminiscently. Last night, prompted Miss Marple. I dare say you won't believe this, said Gwenda, speaking very fast. You'll think I'm hysterical or queer or something. It happened quite suddenly, right at the end. I I'd enjoyed the play. I never thought once of the house, and then it came out of the blue when he said these words. She repeated in a low, quivering voice, Cover her face, mine eyes dazzle, she died young. It was back there on the stairs, looking down on the hall through the banisters, and I saw her lying there, sprawled out, dead, her hair all golden, and her face all blue. She was dead, strangled. Someone was saying these words in that same horrible, gloating way, and I saw his hands, gray, wrinkled, not hands, monkey paws. It was horrible, I tell you. She was dead. Miss Marple asked gently, who was dead? And the answer came back quick and mechanical. Helen. And that's the end of chapter 3. So we will take this up next Monday. And that is the end of our session tonight. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Cat Claw, thank you for joining, and Jay Bootler, thank you as well. So next week we'll start up with chapter 4, If you guys think of it, you could buy Agatha Christie's Sleeping Murder and off Amazon or something and follow along with us if you want. Um, I will say I would like to make a little plug for Whatnot. If you are a book buyer, there's really good prices over there, and if you just like to read, there's a lot of really good deals there. So I just wanted to reiterate that. So I guess I will let you guys go tonight. It's almost 8 o'clock. But meet me back here at 7:30 Central Standard Time next week, and we'll continue on with Agatha Christie. All right, well, have a great week, and I will see you next Monday. Bye.